Hi, good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining us today for the JioGlass Developers Connect session. I am Priyanka Yadav and I am the Senior Marketing Manager at Jio Tesseract. I welcome you all on behalf of Jio Tesseract and JioGlass Developers community for yet another interesting and insightful session that we have it for planned for you today on the topic called Metaverse Visualization and the Social Impact of XR Technology. As we keep hearing things about Metaverse and this XR technology, which is getting into our household and becoming a very common name, we thought let's plan something which is going to be more interesting to you and we'll dig deeper into more insights which are going to be useful. Before we begin, I would like to give you a quick introduction about Jio Tesseract in case you do not know and who we are. Jio Tesseract is basically India's biggest mixed reality company and is a MIT Media spin-off and a private subsidiary of Reliance Industries Limited. At Tesseract, we began our humble journey to democratize the use of mixed reality, augmented and mixed reality, considering its immense potential to transform the way we watch, learn, and play. Or you can say Tesseract is an AR and VR arm and a subsidiary of Reliance Jio, and we are the makers of the JioGlass. Here, what we want to achieve through this, we actually want to do with Reliance Jio Tesseract is building a mixed reality ecosystem with the potential to empower the next billion internet users across India. And I can tell you how. We are working towards building and creating a mixed reality ecosystem that's going to have a potential to empower the next billion internet use of generation. We are working towards creating by meaningful AR and VR content and affordable devices for consumers to experience the power of the next wave of computing. And we are trying to create a platform that is going to give potential to present and create their applications to reach the hands of general consumer. It's going to give powers to the developers, creators, and brands and enterprise, which would help and which will showcase their application services and experience to a technically advanced urban millennial and population at the comfort of their homes. For specifically developers, we have actually created a platform and we are currently running a program called JioGlass Developers Program. We have created India's biggest mixed reality developer community that we are building today. And currently at a state, we actually have 4,000 signups, about 500 applications and concepts that we have received. We have actually onboarded about 250 plus developers. And currently we have more than 100 plus applications which are currently on board. And it's a growing community of 500 developers which are currently building for JioGlass. Here are some benefits that a developer who becomes a part of developers community gets to have, which is visible on your screens. And without actually taking further details and further time from Avi's session, I would like to quickly invite and welcome Avi. Avi Divedi, the founder of Extended Reality Developers in India, aka XRDI. Welcome, Avi. Thank you for making time and being part of this Developer Connect session today.
Thank you, Priyanka, and thank you, Jio Developer Connect Session, for having me today. And we are really excited to do this because we always wanted to explain metaverses, always want to talk to the community about XR, and let's see if we do this thing today.
Great, great. So let me just take a few more minutes from your audience time to quickly give a brief introduction about you, and maybe you can take over the stage then. So Avi is basically the founder of Extended Reality, and his team and they are working towards spreading education around AR and VR tech through the community, podcast, and networking building platforms. They are also conducting several workshops and seminars, with a lot of Indian universities and various prominent colleges like IITs and IIMs. And they are also creating an XR community where they're educating people about XR. So I think this is a community building thing which is going hand in hand. So we are preparing developers to actually untap the market of opportunity which really lies right in here in India and probably going forward in future for overseas. How to upskill and meet those opportunities that lies right within. So without wasting much time and further ado, Avi, I hand over the stage to you and request you to please begin the session.
All right, so this is me, Avi Divedi, and we are at Jio Developer Connect session. Thank you everyone for joining this session, and I hope this is going to be informative for all of you. So we have a community called Extended Reality Developers of India, and we are India's one of the largest communities which are collaborating on several projects, which are creating several things. And some of the things also include this Geo Developer Community platform. So what we did, we collaborated with JioGlass and we participated in this developer program where Jio was giving this opportunity to 4,000 plus developers, and a lot of them finally being ended up creating those applications. I think now they have 100 plus application on their platform, which will be there whenever the JioGlass is going to come up. Right. So we also have from our community efforts, we also created these two applications. One is called HoloBoard, one is called Ankpatra. I'll quickly show you the trailers of these because these are ready with me. So this is an application called HoloBoard. And on this is a playful, joyful. Yeah, it has many birds, many words and collectibles, all sort of things, which does require in a game. And another application which we have built for JioGlass is this application. This is called Angpatra.
Today is 4th August 2020. 261 days ago, 18,359,079 people are so far affected with the coronavirus. USA is the
So here is the world meter. You can see the all the world's ranking when it comes to coronavirus, which country is the most affected. 10 countries are ranked here.
so far.
This is the news panel. So it keeps you updated with the recent news which is coming up about COVID.
In December 2019, there was a cluster of pneumonia cases in the city of Wuhan in China.
All right, so these were the two applications which are coming with the JioGlass, and we are really excited because these are built with the community efforts. So I'll go over to what we are covering today in this session. So this session is going to be Metaverse visualization and social impact of XR, which means what is XR at the first place, right? We need to define Metaverse, we need to define XR, we need to define what kind of industries are adopting this, we need to define the global footprint of XR, right? And then we'll go a little more technical, which is going to be a developer oriented session, which is the second half of this slide. And this is going to target how human interact with XR, right? When we talk about XR, what we should care about whenever you are building an XR application, what should be your mindset? So that is going to be two kind of mindsets which you are going to take. One is from end user and one is from developers only, right? So let me define XR first. So XR is basically the umbrella term for all these technologies, as you can see. So you might have heard of VR, AR, but what is XR? So XR basically covers everything in it. So let's think about the term called AI. AI covers all sort of technologies like computer vision, like deep neural networks. AI also covers natural language processing and all sort of things, right? Which relates to it, machine learning. Similarly, the XR terms covers all these other terms. This X is basically replaceable. So you can think X of a variable and replace it with A, M, R, or C, right? So when we're talking about virtual reality, when we're talking about augmented reality, mixed reality, or cinematic reality, we are talking about XR. So this is the overall idea of XR. So this is a report by Accenture, and they predicted that by the year of 2023, $160 billion of market is going to be there. But yeah, this is amazing. And if you look at the compound annual growth rate, that is more than 85%, which is amazing. So when we are talking about this slide, this here, it is an older slide. I couldn't find the newer one, but this is from 2019, and you can already see even in 2019, all sort of technology companies which you have heard of are already working in XR in one way or another. Whether you talk about Google, Facebook, Microsoft, whether you talk about Netflix, they all have some sort of XR product coming up, and they all are keeping pace with the technology. So this report is by PwC. They predicted that $1.5 trillion economy is going to be there by the year 2030, which is huge. When we are talking about consumer, then we have 76% of gaming share right now. But when we are talking about businesses, there are medical share which is 71% plus if when it comes to XR, right? So of course there could be entertainment related products, and but there is definitely products which is more related to medical, manufacturing, industrial goods, and everything, retail, right? So why and how is this possible that all see these sort of things can be teleported or converted into XR content? So the idea is this. So when you think about or when you talk about the mobile phone, what kind of products, what kind of entertainment or what kind of content you consume on your mobile phone? The answer is almost everything. You consume religious content, entertainment, music, fitness content. Similarly, the TV is another medium where you can consume all sort of mediums. The XR, the virtual reality headsets and augmented reality headsets are going to be the next medium, which means everything can be converted or adopted in some ways into XR technologies, and it will be more interactive and immersive, so a better experience. So when we are talking about the metaverses, as you know, a company, Facebook, converted their name to Meta, and now they are talking about all metaverses and going deep into metaverses. So what are these metaverses at the first place? So here's my definition of metaverses. Think metaverses as an extension of messengers. These are messengers in immersive space, right? So what kind of messengers we are using right now? There is WhatsApp, there is Facebook Messenger, then there is LinkedIn Messenger, then there is a messenger built in all sort of other apps. Like, so if you talk about any app, it comes with one sort of messenger. And what is the purpose of that messenger exactly? That messenger's purpose is connecting to you to a certain kind of people. This, if let's say this messenger is LinkedIn, that people are related to business, that people are related to career oriented things, jobs and all sort of things. But when this messenger is WhatsApp, now this is your close family and friends, right? So in these messengers you meet a certain kind of people for certain kind of objectives. Similarly, these immersive messengers, which are called as metaverses, are going to be more immersive, which means you can interact to the people, you can meet people, you can hang around with them, right? So this is the future of immersive messaging, I would say. So when we talk about these metaverses, Facebook announced a metaverse, something called Horizon. Then then Microsoft also came along and said that that very team app on which we are having this application, this session, is also going to adopt this something called Microsoft Mesh and the avatars from the Microsoft Mesh. What are avatars? I'll cover in the next upcoming slides, right? So when we talk about metaverses, we are already living in the space of multi-metaverses, because there are all sort of metaverses. As I said about the messengers, there are all sort of messengers for different kind of purposes. Similarly, there are all sort of metaverses for different kind of purpose and different kind of people you want to meet. So let's talk about the Sansar. Sansar is based on an Indian word. Sansar means the world itself, right? So this Sansar is a metaverse and it is built by a US based company. Then we talk about the VR chat. This is a very good metaverse and this is the craziest thing you will ever see. Weddings are happening on VR chat, divorces are happening on VR chat, so many things are happening. When we going to talk about ArtSpace VR, ArtSpace VR is recently got acquired by Microsoft, and this is amazing platform for all sort of communities, for all sort of creators. They are hosting all sort of reality shows and everything, so many things. So many things you can even learn about and meet people, to strangers, to somebody known with ArtSpace VR. Decentraland is something, think about a blockchain technology or a cryptocurrency where you invest money, but you can also visualize your money in a better way. So Decentraland give you land, and you can decorate your land, you can sell your land, and you can raise the value of your land within Decentraland. So this is the blockchain based cryptocurrency platform which provides lands, a visual form of currency, right? Then we have big screens, which is the future of cinema. Big screen, you share the space with your friends and family and enjoy, sometimes even with a stranger, like I'm in a movie theater, enjoy some sort of cinema. Then there is Rec Room, full of playful people and playful games. And then there is Engage for all sort of keynotes and sessions. So there are all sort of messengers for all sort of purposes. Now, this is amazing. NFT auction of Madhushala. So metaverses, NFTs, these are really blending in from future to our present timeline. And the biggest example of this is Mr. Amitabh Bachchan's NFT Madhushala, which has recently got sold, auction around $520,000, which is huge. Now, whenever we see these sort of images, we question ourselves that is it really a future? We are already not living in this. So let me tell you this, when talking about future, the metaverse and social impact of metaverse is such as this sort of wedding already happened in 1994. So this was the first wedding in the world which happened in 1994, and the case was happened 12 feet apart. So in virtually they were close, but in physical world they were 12 feet apart. This was organized by a company called Cybermind, and Monica was working at Cybermind, and they organized the wedding for her. All right, so now let me come to this showcase of how current days the weddings are happening and how people are taking use of these wedding sort of simulation. So this is a beautiful wedding, right? But to make the wedding memorable, why not just go in the wedding and see who is attending? Even this is one of another wedding which happened in VR chat, and one of my friend covered it. So she's my friend Fia, and she is a beautiful VTuber. VTuber is a profession where you become an avatar and do the YouTuber thing. So this is the wedding which is happening inside virtual reality. The bride, the groom, the funny moment. Now, when we are talking about these sort of events, we should never forget the Ariana Grande event and the Travis Scott moment, which happened in Fortnite. Ariana Grande and Travis Scott famously hosted these events in a game metaverse called Fortnite, and that was amazing. So when we are talking about the GeoGlass itself, they're gonna come up with all kind of these applications where you can spend time, maybe with some other people, maybe by your own self, but this is all which is there, right? So when we are talking about the Trip is one of the biggest meditation app in the world. So Trip is coming on GeoGlass, VTime, which is a meeting app coming on GeoGlass. Then there are plenty of amazing app I can see. For example, you all have heard about Epic Roller Coaster. They are amazing. And you might have heard about the Photon VR, which is the India's largest virtual reality learning platform, which is coming with GeoGlass. Then there is HoloBoard, which is our product and coming on GeoGlass. Now, I'm going to go the second session, which is going to be more on the designer perspective or developer perspective. I'm going to cover this. All right. So this is going to be about, let's start by visualizing some of the problem in this video. All right. I have a question. What could go wrong in this video? Okay. The guy is here and he is visualizing a roller coaster. Now the problem with this video is the guy is standing. All right. If you are, make sure whenever you are making someone experience these sort of videos, that guy is sitting. So what happens when somebody is standing is this. So why this happens, I'll tell you later, but let's move on to next. What could go wrong in this? The guy is trying to jump from one building to another, but in physical space, there is no other building. This is the most epic one, and this is something which happens to all of us. You have a physical table which is not even there, but there's a virtual table in front of you. So what you do, you try to lean on the virtual table, and then this happens. Now, this is again a common problem. The guy is in the virtual reality headset. He's in its zone. It's a personal space, and somebody is avoiding it. So he has to bear the price, right?
Wow.
Again, similar example.
What are you going for? The 6? Oh, wrong.
So as you saw, these problems looks funny, but actually these are design problems, which can be solved if we know the fundamentals of design, right? Let me go to next slide. All right, so let's talk about some design ethics which could prevent these sort of scenario and give your rider a better experience. Why I call it rider? So treat your user as a rider in virtual reality. Like whenever you are creating an amusement park, you have to make sure your ride is comfortable for your player. You cannot punch someone in the face. Why should you allow anybody to punch them in the virtual space, right? So this is some of the design ethics we're going to talk about, starting with this. So this is something called human vestibular system, and this is your sixth sense. This is basically your gyroscope and accelerometer. So this particular device, or I would say organ in your ear, allows you to orient yourself in physical space, right? So whenever you do any kind of motion, there are these sort of puddles inside your ear, and they have a little bit of nerve fibers, and here these hair do movement because of the fluid, and fluid does because of the movement because of the motion itself, right? And finally it is sensed by the nerve fiber, and your brain sense the motion in one dimensional. So they have three or four puddles like this in your ear, and that's how you sense the motion in all sort of dimension, and accumulated all the sum of those you experience as motion. So whenever you are in virtual reality, your ear gyroscope is not feeling any motion, all right? But you are seeing some motion with your eyes. So your eyes are telling you that you are moving in, let's say, in forward direction. Your ears are telling that you are not moving at all. So what happens, your brain get confused, and this confusion is known as nausea and disorientation. So when we are talking about disorientation, in the very first example in which the guy fell because he was trying a roller coaster, he was not comfortable there. So I said that there could be a better way to deliver this product. We'll talk about that. So let's talk about why and how to improve this nausea condition. So there are three kind of frame rates or refresh rates you should care about. First is the screen refresh rate, right? So every screen comes up with some sort of refresh rate, right? So in these sort of headsets, sometimes it's 72, sometimes it's 80, sometimes the new Oculus comes with a 144, right? So 120. So these sort of refresh rates are really important to be known for a developer, because that's how your game's screen get refreshed, right? It has nothing to do with your simulation. The screen has the capability to refresh at this fast. Now, let's come to the second one, the tracking refresh rate. This is usually faster than the screen refresh rate. So what happens, how many times your device is orienting itself in the space according to your device tracking refresh rate. So this tracking refresh rate is basically giving us a sense that if we surpass that, it is going to be a problem. But usually this number is pretty low, so that we can do all sort of things in that and doesn't face any problems. Okay, so Now the third number is basically the simulation refresh rate. This is where the developer has to focus the most, right? If you are a hardware developer, then you have to focus the most on the screen refresh and tracking refresh. But if you are a software developer, which like most of us are, we have to focus on the simulation refresh rate. So you can calculate it by 1 by time dot delta time, which will give you this sort of number, which is keep it around 90. So what happens is, let's say a user is trying to move his head from left to right, all right, and if the view does not shift from right to left in his headset, then he's going to face some sort of disorientation. So to keep that in mind and to prevent that, we have to make sure this number is above. Right. So I said about that tracking one that this is not the better way to do it. Here is the better way to serve that kind of roller coaster rides. As you can see here, the orientation is also, it is going to give the signals to your ear as well. So you are not going to feel sick. You are not going to feel disoriented. Right? Some more tips: give some sort of disclaimers. So not all the rights are good for all kind of people. So there are people who could damage themselves in some ways, like people who have heart attack conditions or something, I don't know, right? So you have to care for them, give them proper disclaimers that this particular age has to be for this ride or something. Okay, specify minimum age or medical condition, instructions for being seated if the simulation requires to be seated. No jump scares. What are jump scares? Like in horror movies, we saw somebody coming in and say, "Whoo!" So that is a jump scare. Don't do that, right? That's not funny. Respect the personal space. I'll come to that. Right. So let me come to this. Okay, some more additional no-nos. No staircases because it is bumpy. No jumps because it is again not really good. So do smooth teleportation from one point to another and don't make them very fast jump. No enemies which push the object, right? The player, if somebody push them, it feels really bad in virtual reality. If somebody have played games like Hyperdash, so it has a very bad mechanism of pushing objects. So yeah, don't do that. Then no moving platforms. This is also makes everybody disoriented and nauseous. So scale realism is really important. Nobody wants to see a 10-foot tall dog in virtual reality. It is hell scary. Don't do that. Object placement, we need to place the object. Make sure you are not placing them in the personal space. Make sure at least 1 to 2 meter apart from the player. All right. And then far objects, make sure you are placing something at 10-meter distance as well, like bushes, like rocks, something. So it does not, it avoids the infinite distances, because infinite distances are bad, they are scary, right? Flashy lightings are a big no-no. Don't do all sort of flashing, flickering lights like we do in horror games. Don't do that in VR. It does not give a very good impact on the brain. Explosion lights are bad. Muzzle flashes are bad. Bonus tips: use some sort of kind of FOV limiters. So whenever the person is making some sort of acceleration, make sure you limit the very view which it can see, so that it breaks some sort of immersiveness and give them a little bit of comfort. Also a bonus tip: let the player decide what kind of comfortable or what kind of user they are. Not everybody is sick to this motion sickness equally, so they should get some sort of UI to select how much they are comfortable with the simulation and adjust accordingly, right? All right, personal space, and this is my favorite. So this is something called personal space chart, and this is the intimate space. If you go in there, people will feel like you are hugging them. Don't do that, even not in the social and metaverses, right? Personal space is 1.2. So if you are not talking to them, don't go in this space. If this is social space, if you are referring them by far or just saying them hello, make sure you are in this space, right? And especially with the AI characters as well, when you're adding AI character, don't add them here, add them here, right? Virtual embodiment, again, this is another my favorite subject. A lot of research is going on the virtual embodiment. Virtual embodiment is basically a science between how the physical body maps with the virtual avatar, right? So your physical body has to map with a virtual avatar. And whenever we do the mapping, or whenever we sort of misbehave with the mapping, we ignore some parameters, a lot of problems happens. We can sometimes do experiments by making the parameters a little bit different on our will as well. So this is an experiment I'm going to show you. This is not in virtual reality, but give you a glimpse of what exactly the virtual embodiment is. So virtual embodiment is basically your brain thinks your body, think about your body that this is my hand, and your eye thinks about your hand, and there is your real hand. All right. So all three are different things, but your brain thinks as one. All right.
Is fake hand, and you've each got a brush. So all I want you to do is brush each hand sort of simultaneously. What you should feel, Adam and Alan, eventually.
So one hand is covered, which is the real hand, and another hand is shown, which is the fake hand. But when you rub it with the brush, you develop a sensation. You rub it along with the real hand as well, and you develop the sensation. Okay, I feel this brush on my fake hand as well, because you can only see the fake hand.
You will feel in the rubber hand the same sensation you feel in your real hand, which seems extraordinary.
Yeah.
But you will, and let me know when you do.
Okay.
It may not have happened yet.
And then you will.
Yes. My hand has never felt more like it belongs to me.
I'm going faster.
I think that will help.
Okay.
It really does feel like it. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's genuinely bizarre. And now you can get out the other brush.
What?
What?
They've got...
So when they pushed the hammer on the fake hand, the person reacted as the hammer is getting on his correct hand, which means in his mental situation, he has bonded with a fake hand, and the sensations so real for him that fake hand was real hand. And that happens to avatar as well. This is why avatars are so important. So let's say if we make the avatar a 3 inch taller, then the person in physical body language and gestures also behave like he became 3 inch taller and behaves like that. So you can tweak how you want a person to feel, and that's how you can change your avatars. So if you want them to feel good, feel bad, change the avatars accordingly, and they'll feel that way. So this is one of my favorite documentaries.
My mother was born in South Carolina. We never stopped. It's just the reality of being Black in America.
So this documentary is in virtual reality. It's available on Oculus. Where they talk about being Black and traveling. So this documentary gives you a body of a Black character, and now as a black male, you face the racism around you, so that you can understand more the pain of somebody who has been Black. Right. So this is how we can change the perception of person. Now, a lot of you have noticed this Microsoft Facebook Horizon and this Microsoft Teams does not have legs. The reason why they don't have legs is the same thing, virtual embodiment. So right now we have only 3 sensors, one for head, one for each arm, right? And then you don't have a sensor to track leg. So what happens when you see the fake leg, we can sort of simulate it with all sort of IKs and everything. But when you see that the leg, it does not move when you move your real leg. And that breaks the very immersiveness. It feels very weird. So that's why they chose to not have legs. Right now, there is one more cool thing which you should know about, which is called Uncanny Valley. And this is how the chart looks like. So this talks about, okay, here the how realistic we can go. Okay, if we are, let's say, going towards realism, character being too realistic, and unless they are not exactly super realistic, like meta humans kind of avatars, that is fine. But if they are anywhere lacking, you're gonna feel really weird about them. So this is the valley, which like a total dip, total unlikeliness. So you are definitely not gonna like avatars which are not super real. If you try to go too real, so all the avatars are animated, and the reason is basically the uncanny valley. If they try to make it too real, because of the current hardware they cannot do it. There are some limitations. Unless they don't do meta humans, you're gonna feel really weird about this avatar. So this is somewhere what uncanny valley means. If the avatars in motion, which is already in VR, so that affects multiplies to a significant level, right? So this is a popular example. I have added the link, so you will guys can visit the blog, which talks about the source of uncanny valley in your brain. Third is personalization, the last one. So we have seen that PUBG has earned more than 5 billion in 2020. Fortnite similarly have earned somewhere around 7 billion. I have added the article links. So these products are free actually. How they earn money? They earn money using a system called personalization. So they have, you can personalize room, you can personalize your avatars, you can personalize your weapon. Similarly in virtual reality as well, we have all sort of personalization, similar personalization of room, personalization of things. And now coming up with NFTs, the personalization is going to go on a next gear. It's going to take on a next dimension, because now you can personalize even more, you can own things even more, and now you can own your value, your currency, your money. So that is what which we should care about, right? So now finally I'll come to conclusion, and my conclusion is this. In 2007, Steve Jobs, when he announced the iPhone, he said it's going to be an iPod, an iPhone, or an internet device. It's all three, right? But 15 years from there, now we know it's much more than that. It's your fitness trainer, it's your musician. It tells you all sort of things. It's your teacher. It's let you allow do so many things. You are ordering subjis with your iPhone now, right? So imagine what these technologies could do in the future. The 2020 AGM was similar event to me. So when I see the massive 1 billion people population, what they could achieve with this kind of technology, and what we're going to do with this kind of technology in upcoming 5 to 10 years, it's going to be something which cannot be predicted from here. So we know we can do so many things, but it's still there is so much to explore. There's so much to yeah, excel. And thanks to Reliance Jio for making this possible and giving us the opportunity to do so. Now we'll move to Q&A. If anybody has any questions, do let me know. I hope you like the slides.
Thank you so much, Avi. And there are a few questions which actually have been answered in a partial way by the participants itself. So let me pick and choose, but I would urge and invite other participants also to kind of, write down in case you have any questions, or raise hand. If you have a request, others to pull down your hands if you do not have any questions. Uh, Let me pick the first question. One thing, I mean, these are mostly comments. There's one question, Avi, which says how one can start with VR if they don't have any headsets, though they as because VR headsets are much costlier. So, what would be your advice for someone who would like to just get started, and how that person should get started?
Yeah, ask Reliance Jio team that when they are coming up with the headset.
Yeah, first thing, just sign up
Because
for the
that's going
developers
to be the
portal.
most affordable choice you're gonna have. And and if you really want to explore, you really want to do something even now, there is a heavily subsidized headset you could look for is from Facebook. It's called Quest 2. You can also look for that, but that is going to be, you can buy it on EMI if you can. But Reliance Jio is definitely the best choice coming up, going to be available to us in upcoming time.
Okay, there's one more question. How to make our own SDK like Vuforia?
Amazing. Do a lot of
That's from
computer vision.
Amrut.
Do a lot of computer vision. There's a library called OpenCV, which will give you a lot of ability to do all sort of pattern recognition. And I would recommend you a channel called from a friend called Ritesh Kanji. He has a channel called Augmented Startups, which will help you learn this virtual reality, not virtual reality, computer vision All right. So there is also a very good lecture or computer vision. Connect to me. I'll refer you the lectures, which will give you some sort of idea to how to do pattern recognition and then image recognition and finally object recognition. Follow Ritesh Kanji. He does all that stuff. He's a superman.
All right. Thank you, Avi. There's one more question from Amit Shetty. It is, as a designer, how do you approach designing for XR with no knowledge of development environments?
So you need to. This is the part of being designers. The first thing is do for thorough research, right? So you have to learn about the development environment. This is the part of research. What could be done? At least what could be done with the development environment? What is possible? What competitors are doing? What ways to approach this? So you need to do basic research. That is the very first step of tackling this design solutions. So you have to learn about a little bit of environment that is essential. You cannot say, I don't know this and I need to design this.
Is there any link or any place that you would like to guide this person to, where they can get, or, the basics of understanding that? Is there a footprint that you suggest?
Yeah, Extended Reality Developers of India. I'm typing the YouTube channel link. We do all these sort of design sessions. We do all this. Sorry, I typed the wrong link. Sorry. XRDA and then add TV in front of this. Right. So we do all this sort of design sessions, developer sessions, and we build stuff there which you're gonna like. We do all sort of podcasts which you're gonna like. So yeah, a lot of things to learn from there.
Mm-hmm. One more thing to add, I'm also placing a link here, Amit, for you. You can also go through and have a link understanding of the GeoGlass design interaction things, which will also help you understand a lot of basics. So even you can go and check out this link. Next,
Amazing.
it's from Gaurav Barai. How do we decide for an app to go from 2D design to convert to curved, or should we design the app as a 3D gamified version?
That is amazing. I think in the geo design form, you guys have already tackled this
Yeah,
situation
yeah,
because, yeah, a lot of people want to, they have this 2D design and now they want a curve design and now they
correct.
want. So I think you have covered all the ethics. So the design document which is sent is really practical, practically answers this question. And they have covered most of the things. So I'm not going to repeat.
Okay, and there is one more question. Okay, there's one more question from Hasham. Which SDK or platform is better to develop multi-user VR and AR application?
Multi-user. So the way to add multi-user is add some sort of networking platform on top of it. There are plenty of those. AWS has some sort of plugin. You can build even own plugins which will allow you to do that. But the most popular choice when it comes to Unity, I'm more comfortable in Unity. So I'm gonna tell you there is something called Photon. We are building our metaverse on Photon. And then there is another good choice called Mirror. Then there is something called Unit, which is now converted in what they call it, ML API or something they call it, right? So these are some good options for you to go with.
All right. I hope this answer your question, Hashim. Atul, just answer to your question. You mentioned links are not opening. You can just go to this link, geotesseract.com, and just search for design and developer guideline. Scroll down below in the page, and you will find these links active. Moving on to the next question: is HDRP DXR good for VR? Avi.
Not at all, not at all. Because all this, I said that flickering, bloom, these are not really good for when you're designing the. But if still, if you can, let's say if the object is far enough, then you can do these sort of things. But flickering and bloom effects and all these sort of things, don't go too cinematic when it's come to VR. Two reasons. One is the performance. Second is the human behavior.
Okay. Then one more question. Let me pick up. Then there is, what is the best library SDK to create a web AR experience? And also, Jio is planning to create a web AR SDK. So maybe the
You
first,
can answer the second part. Yeah.
maybe the
Yeah, first part is like this. There are plenty of those. Popular one is called A-Frame. I have a friend, Rajat Kumar Gupta. He does all this sort of web AR experiments. You can follow him. I did also a lot of these experiments. So I am planning to do some tutorials as well, but he does really good tutorials. So there are 3JS, there is A-Frame, there is ARJS, all these sort of platforms. Then there is a lot of things to check on Mozilla Firefox platform. They are building a really good WebXR solutions. You must check out. This is a whole world which relates to the just web AR and XR.
Sure. And with respect to the GeoGlass part, I would suggest, guys, as I'm seeing a lots of questions on GeoGlass, I would suggest please hold on to it. We'll get you the experts where we'll be answering, because we are upgrading the ecosystem and refining it day by day before we come and approach towards the launch. So I would stick to your queries, and we'll announce and come up with a dedicated session on GeoGlass SDK and the platform ecosystem specific to you for answer all possible queries. There are lots of exciting things which are planning, but I think it would not be a justice if I just answer things in bits and pieces. So please bear with us, and we'll come back to you very soon, sometime in December, a dedicated session on GeoGlass once again.
There is a question that are we on the Discord? Yes, SRDA community is on Discord. And one more announcement, which I did yesterday, that we are also building a job portal, which is going to be a connection between the XR industry and the people who are the talents. So that is something we are building on XR specific job portal, where the jobs are like you, the training programs are for you. So everything is there. So I'll link. It's gonna launch by Monday. I'll share the link when it's come.
Mm-hmm. There's one more question from Anupam. Which XR companies, organization do you believe are doing commendable job in India? Uh, Potential to be XR unicorns.
There are so many. I did a session on Indian companies which are doing really good. That session is tagged on the XRDA homepage even. So that was an hour-long session. I trimmed down to 10 minutes so that all you can enjoy. Right? There are plenty of so many companies doing so much good efforts. It's hard to name one. It's hard to name one. There are so many, and they all know me, so it is even harder to name one now.
Mm-hmm. All right, great. So I think we have these limited questions. Guys, if you have any further questions, please list down, or you can feel free to. There's one question. Can you please guide about any internship opportunities?
Yeah, come at XRDA. We have so many.
Also,
Yeah.
I would like to add into this, even at Jio Tesseract, we have lots of open positions. Tejas, could you please leave a careers page link? So we already have existing a lot of opportunities lying down, which are like full-time roles, also internships. So check out, and maybe you can send your details at HR. I'll write it down, HR at tesseract.in. Uh, and send in your CV and the profile that you think is going to be suited to you, and explore opportunities in XR. Okay. It says invalid in invite for. So I think maybe Avi, you'll have to give an invitation link for Discord. So maybe you can maybe create a poster where people can drive it, or you can
Yeah,
write
yeah,
it.
yeah. So
So
for me, it is only going to be one link, the YouTube channel link, and that is going to be www.youtube.com/xrditv. And on that, you're gonna have all sort of links. There is a WhatsApp group link, there is a Facebook group link, there is a Discord group link, or everything is there. Website links, everything. Right? So just
oh,
remember the YouTube channel or search for XRDA on the YouTube, and you're gonna find a lot of content.
great, great. So I think as we do not have any further questions specific to this session, I would like to just, maybe conclude. While we think, it's really overwhelming to hear and, read about metaverse and social collaboration. I think it's very obvious that it is right here, right in. People think it's this technology is, years away, but it's here and now, and it's
Yeah.
creating enormous value and advantages for those who are leveraging it. So, as from us at Jio Tesseract, I think it's really important to us that we equally equip, instead of just focusing on creating a developer ecosystem by, just creating a platform. It is also imperative that we also upskill the developers who are currently working with us to, tap this opportunity that lies in the opportunity for brands, businesses, and developers to leverage, the NFTs and the metaverse at a groundswell state, which lies right in. So technology is moving at a lightning speed, and rapid changes are happening. So let's gear up, be prepared, and see how we can really transform the people watch, learn, and play, and really make XR as an extended, umbrella term that I would say so, as the household name that people really accept this technology and really start believing in it, because it's right here right now. And let's future proof our skills, and you know let's rock the world with the power of XR. So I think with that, I would like to thank you, Avi, and thank you everyone for attending our today's webinar. And you've been a wonderful guest and hosts, guest and audiences to help us tell you exactly all these details. And Avi, thank you for investing your time and giving us this opportunity to conduct it. To audiences, I would like to say, if you have any further questions or any ideas on any other guest that you would want us to bring into this next JioGlass developer session, apart from the dedicated section or a segment that we would like to do it on JioGlass, please write down to us on this email ID, which is developers at Priyanka at Tesseract.in, or developers at Tesseract.in, whichever it is fine for you. And we'll be sharing and recording of this session in the coming week for you, so that you're also updated. We will also send across a PDF version of this deck when it's ready, and shortly you'll be receiving all of this in your inbox. So once again, thank you so much on behalf of Jio Tesseract and my whole team. I'd like to thank you all for being an amazing audience.